Hi guys, White Witch 110 here. I'm going to attempt to finish off the story for you. Hopefully I can get it all in before my phone shuts off this time. Okay, now we had left Cameron saying, "I still say it's human." Cameron glanced over to the barn. "I believe our answer is in there," he pointed towards it. "Don't go in there." I gave him a stern look. He shook his head and turned from me. I ran to catch up. "I don't mean to tell you what to do. Cameron, there's something in that barn. And it's not human. Cameron, I feel it in my bones." I turned him toward me. "I love you, and I want you to be safe. What's in that barn is not safe. Listen." I looked around to make sure we were alone. "Last night, something was trying that door. I heard the knob move. We need to get back home. The couples are due to leave tomorrow." Cameron took my hand. "I'm sorry for reacting as I did. You're right. Let's get them home. I won't say a word about what you said." We took only one rest stop on our way back. No one wanted to be among the trees. Leslie and I continued to scan the landscape for anything out of place. About an hour out, she caught up to me. "Jill, I'm getting that feeling again," she informed me. "How long?" I simply asked. "Last 10 minutes. I don't see anything different, but I know it's there." She held back tears of fear. "I'll keep watch on this side. Don't cry, we're almost home." I continued to keep the subject light from this point till we came out of the forest. That evening, we had dinner at our place. We thanked our new friends for coming and expressed hope that we'd see them soon. They promised to say goodbye before leaving. It was going on 10 and no one had come by. Cameron and I decided to go check on them. Attached to the door was a note. "Dear Jill and Cameron, so sorry to leave without saying goodbye. Early in the morning, something rattled the windows. They then went over to the other house and tried to get through the door. We felt it better to just leave. When this mystery is solved, please let us know. We really did enjoy our time here." Cameron assured me they would give us a good review. He was sure they wouldn't mention the night at the abandoned village. We had to find out what was going on. Cameron and George arranged an evening to talk things over. There had to be a plan, and soon. The following week, we had 2 more couples arriving to stay for 2 weeks. It wasn't until Thursday of that week that we heard the noise again. We were preparing the tiny house for our next guests. Cameron was closing the windows after airing the place all day. "Cameron!" I shouted from the bedroom loft. At that moment, his phone rang. "Hello? Yeah, we heard it." "Really? Wow. Okay." And he hung up. I had climbed down. "Who was that?" I inquired. "George." The screech came from his side. "Leslie is terrified. They're coming over with the dog. Even Tanner is freaked out. George said the dog hid under the bed. Cameron, this is serious. We can't continue like this. We'll both lose money," I told him. "I know, but I don't feel comfortable handling this on our own. We need help, babe. Our friends are afraid to live in their own home. This isn't rational. None of this was. Why, after all this time, were these things happening? Once inside our home, Leslie broke down. She couldn't take any more. Living by the woods wasn't romantic. She had been hearing movement around the house while we were all at work. Leslie could hear the footsteps. She heard whoever it was trying windows and doors. Hearing the noise was the last straw. Not even their dog would go outside. Tanner was terrified. You stay here as long as you need. We have space, I told them. You have no idea how much we appreciate this, George said. Did you check for footprints? Cameron wanted to know. No, didn't take the time. We put stuff together and left, he explained. Leslie and I brought their luggage into the guest room. Jill, I can't do this. We need to sell the house, she said. Does George know this? You would have to disclose the fact. How would I say this? How would you say this? The fact that there is a cryptid in the area? I did not mean to upset her. Jill, I have to get out. I can't be alone in the house. I'm so scared. I begged George to call Cameron. I knew you wouldn't have us stay there. I want compensation for this. I calmed her down enough to stop her crying. What compensation? A new home, somewhere far from here. This was going to be a nightmare. On our own, I asked Leslie if she had seen anything. 2 days ago, I caught a blur of a figure out of the peripheral vision. It was beige in color. It moved so quickly I couldn't tell the actual size. The men decided to go into the city and buy security cameras. By nightfall, it was set up on both properties. It neared time to sleep, which needed to be forced. I prayed something would show up within the camera range. Though half the night the footage was uneventful, about 4:30, a shadow was cast on Leslie's lawn. 5 minutes later, it came into our view. The picture was grainy, but whatever it was, walked on all fours. The new vacationers arrived and settled in for their stay. We had decided not to mention the creature. At the end of their first week, the screech returned. The unsettling point was now there seemed to be a response. There's 2 of them. There's 2 of them? I questioned Cameron. George and Leslie had returned home by now. I guess so. George said they heard it as well. We foolishly agreed to hike to the village. Coming upon the clearing, once again, the barn was easily visible. There we stood at the opening. Only a few feet separated us from the answer. Together, we stepped inside. The cavity of the barn was huge, an amazing wooden structure. We were so taken back, we neglected to note movement above us. The smell of manure remained strong. It continued to seep out of the wood. Above was more than a winter's worth of hay. An uncomfortable sensation was there, but the urge to end this mystery was stronger. There was nothing unusual on the main level. We searched for access to the loft and found none. Satisfied what we were looking for was not here, we continued on checking the other buildings. We thankfully came up empty. Possibly whatever it was has moved on, Leslie commented. We were in high hopes she was correct. Our guests appeared to be enjoying themselves. They said it feels like home. This is what our attention had been. The young man of the first couple was anxious to speak with Cameron. I explained he was waist high in paperwork and that he could speak with me. I have something to show him. I took a photo last night. The young man brought up his camera to allow me a view of the screen. I stood there stunned. I said not a word, ushering him into the office. Cameron was about to object when I raised my hand to stop him. I then placed the camera on his paperwork. Take a look at the screen. I crossed my arms. He took a quick glance, then picked it up. I went around his desk to the chair. What in the hell is that? I questioned him. We were staring at a figure roughly 4 feet tall. It was covered in fur, had large eyes with rounded ears on its head. Is that an ape? I was confused. Where did you take this photo? Cameron inquired. Well, early in the morning, I heard noise outside. I thought it was likely a raccoon at the garbage cans, so I grabbed my camera. I was just about to open the door when this thing came across the lawn. It's not the best photo, but you can see what it is. But where did it come from? There are no traveling circuses nowadays. Cameron, do you think this is what we heard? I asked. We heard something yesterday coming from the woods, the young man informed us. It was eerie, to say the least. So what do we do? Who do we inform? I continued. Nobody. A voice came from behind. It was George and Leslie. He placed his phone on the desk. Take a look at the footage. It's from the security camera. We watched the identical creature rummaging through a garbage can. So what do we do? Cameron now asked. Contact a zoo? There is no zoo for this thing, George told us. It's a devil monkey. There was no expression on his face. I've heard of a devil monkey. What type of cryptid is that? I asked George. First off, it has never been seen in this area, so I'm at a loss as to why it's here. It didn't matter how it arrived. It mattered how it was going to vacate. Reading what we could find, our understanding was this cryptid was vicious. Why hadn't it tried anything? Together we contacted a local cryptozoologist. Oh, hang on. Okay. Sorry about that. On a Thursday evening, we were, as usual, assembled in our living room. I must say how surprised I am that the creature is here. We've had no reports of it this far south. My colleagues and I agree it has to be food source. Leslie spoke up. I hate to ask, but what does it eat? Normally, they feed on livestock. In the absence of that, pets and humans. He said, so matter of fact, it startled me. So why hasn't it attacked us? There's no livestock in this area. I wasn't sure I needed to know the answer. As with all natural habitats, we've taken the space over, forcing nature's creatures to push further in. They are losing ground on all sides. He took a breath. It is known to walk on 2 legs, but will run on all 4s. In 2 reports, people have found scratches on their cars, and then it has chased them. We all looked at each other. Maybe we should start from the beginning. We informed the gentleman of all that we could remember. The print we found had 3 toes, I told him. Yes, that is typical. They have powerful legs and can jump quite a distance. You should count yourselves extremely lucky you weren't dinner. We wondered out loud what we should do. This village, is it accessible by car? He asked. To be honest, we don't know. We've only ever hiked in. It doesn't exist on any map we've found. I can show you the rough location, though. Cameron pointed on a map to the location he believed was the village. I'd like to go out there and look around. He waited our response. We cooperated, agreeing to accompany him. The road did indeed take us to the village. Each of us related our experiences to him. We were less willing to enter the barn now. The cryptozoologist took his time examining the interior. Cameron had informed him that there was no ladder to the loft. I am convinced the monkey has been living here. You say the other buildings were fine? Yes, I don't believe anyone has been in them for years. He wanted to search them all the same. He concurred with our observation. No one had lived there for years. Do you think it's gone? Leslie asked. Unfortunately, no. The smell in the barn is fresh scat. Since we have no idea how long it's been gone for, we should leave for our safety. No need to tell us a second time. The gentleman's name was Paul. He gave us his card requesting we keep in touch. He was going to give the information he had learned to his colleagues. Cameron strongly suggested the guests leave and be refunded any money. We were on our own again. Paul was in the city making plans to seize the devil monkey. If the cryptid was as elusive, he would need all he had and consider the difficult decision. Francis and Jack were staying. It was their forever home. The rest of us awaited the results of Paul's plan. They believed there was an opportunity to sedate the beast. How much would they require? How much was too much? How much was too little? There was only known wildlife to measure by. Would the monkey have an adverse reaction? There were unknowns, but unfortunately, there was no other choice in their minds. Caging it would be costly, materials for the cage, transporting it, paying a farmer for livestock as bait. The sedation was strategically obvious. Paul requested we keep a journal recording the sounds or possible encounters. Cameron was diligent with this. Cameron, what are we going to do if their plan doesn't succeed? Do we give up everything? I want to be positive, though. I have seriously considered our choices. We stay, like Francis and Jack. We leave, like George and Leslie. Or we move and rent out the property. I wouldn't feel comfortable having people live here if we can't. That wouldn't be fair. He agreed. Cameron was only listing options. As much as I am sentimental, I'd have to leave. It would be challenging functioning with its existence hanging over our heads. I sighed. Cameron realized the spark of contentment was lost. He had scrimped for years to own our own home. It seemed only an instant would dissolve it. We have to leave and take our losses. His voice solemn. Back to an apartment. My disappointment was obvious. Cameron clasped my hands. Jill, we'll have enough for a tiny home.
Hey.
Cats are going crazy. We could even move one of these. We'll only need the land. Considering all this, it won't be in the country. My mood continued to sink. We required a quick, safe capture of the monkey. It was a month before Paul and his team arrived to carry out their plan. He advised us as to the danger ahead. Not actually having knowledge of the creature it was the best plan they could come up with. As Paul appeared, George and Leslie departed. Our promise to get in touch was not an empty one. Francis and Jack requested only to be informed of the result. Paul agreed. He and his small group took over the 2 tiny houses. Using our limited sightings, they placed small cams on our property and George's. We drove up to the village where more cameras were set. We need to get in that loft. Paul searched and did find an old wooden ladder. Don't know how sturdy, but I guess I'll find out. He took his time up each rung. At the top, he stopped. What's wrong? I called up. Cameron, come up. It will take our weight. Cameron shrugged his shoulders and climbed the ladder. Oh my God. What? I shouted. Cameron described what he was seeing. The hay has been formed into a bed, and there are bones everywhere. Paul was now in the loft. Some of these look like human bones. It's been eating, that's for sure. Some cattle bones and sheep. I could only imagine the scene, and that was enough for me. Climbing down, Cameron spoke. I'm glad you didn't go up. The amount of bones is unfathomable. It's been here for quite some time. Back home, we watched as Paul's team switched each camera to life on the screen. Each member had a screen that they were responsible for. For days, they intently scrutinized each frame. Nothing appeared but known wildlife. Our frustration was real. The days melted into months. Paul insisted on paying rent for the tiny houses. We were into spring of the following year when fresh team members caught movement in the barn. The devil monkey was there. Paul made a decision not to rush out there, but wait. We know it's back, so there's no need for haste. It will make its way here. Paul was correct. 2 nights later, it did. It made an appearance. His team was ready. We remained in our house watching this capture play out. The energy was high, along with our hopes that this nightmare would soon be over. Their aims were perfect, but the creature moved swiftly, allowing the dart to miss its mark. After a couple of days, the cryptid was nowhere to be found. I'm pretty sure the monkey has vacated the area. We were so hoping we would have captured it by now, Paul said while his team began packing up. There have been sightings 2 counties over. I'll contact you if we're successful this time. Car doors slammed, and we were left standing in the sense of being lost. It was our turn to pack up and move away. I gazed out the back window as our dream faded every mile that the speedometer clicked over. It was difficult to adjust back to city life. In time, We had heard news that Francis and Jack had disappeared, leaving all possessions behind. Cameron and I looked at each other. We knew all too well where they were. Up in the loft of the barn, the devil monkey was enjoying his latest kill. As it gnawed the last bone cleaned, a terrified Francis cried helplessly in the corner, with no chance of escape. She was next. And that is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure that wasn't the ending you were expecting. That's partially why I wrote it like that. I was even surprised that I ended it like that. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming by to hear the end of the story, and I decided to call it What's in the Forest. To my YouTube family, thank you as always. Anybody passing through, please consider becoming a subscriber, and if you do, please click the notification bell so you'll know the next time that I upload. Also, check out my other videos. Any of them that find interesting, give them a like, drop me a comment, share any of them out with friends, family, co-workers, anyone you think would enjoy it. And thank you to any new subscribers for joining the group, the gang, the family. We've had a rainy day here in Ottawa and very damp. So I'm now going to go and relax for a little bit. So as always, have a great weekend and ciao for now. We noticed that's the only street light doing that. Interesting. Oh, the girls are on the bed. Miss Sassy. Miss Giz. Gizzy. Gizzy girl. Gizzy girl. Miss Pearl. What'd you guys do with your brother? Where's your brother? Let's go see. Huh? Hello, Waverly, babe. Oh, what was that? You staying away from your sisters? Yeah? Okay. Miss Sassy, what are you doing? Huh, baby girl? What are you doing? You want to? Oh, you want in there too? Hello, Miss Pearl. Yeah. Who's that? There's Miss Gizzy. Gizzy girl. Say hello. Whoops. Here, I'll bring it down for you. There you go. Where's your brother? Hey, where's Waverly? No. Baby girl, you're so cute. Let's go find Waverly. Waverly! Buddy! Waverly! Waverly! Hi, buddy! What you doing? Hey? Oh, what? Meow? Little meow? Little meow? Waverly, where'd you go? Wave. You guys are obsessed with the bathroom. Waverly, what'd you guys do while we were at work?